Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the global guided meditation call for Monday, January 29, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call this week, this coming Wednesday, around 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to do a different kind of meditation today. When we focus our energy, our God force, the gods within us, in a state of meditation in the now, not yesterday or tomorrow, but the now. And what we're doing is we're doing it in the now and not for tomorrow and not for yesterday. All of us are omnipotently powerful beings. We have so many abilities that we have not discovered or rediscovered, depending on how you view it. And we look at this as watchers. We look at the planet. We don't look at the planet as revenge from our standpoint, of get even from our standpoint, of ill will from our standpoint. And from time to time, you decide you can focus your frequency, your energy, to shift the energies, because understand, we are energy. And we are a part of all of it. We're a part of the planet, the gods that we are in these bodies. We're a part of the solar system, the galaxy, the universe, and onwards. So it's known as the collective consciousness. And most of us really do not know, we're not consciously aware that we are part of the collective consciousness. This has been proven for a very long time, thousands of experiments in quantum anomalies in quantum physics, that the consciousness exists in everything. Even the smallest quantum particles, it's been proven that they have consciousness. So no matter how small or how large that you view something, within it has consciousness. So what does that mean? It means that it makes its own mind up, its own direction. You can take a particle. You could literally have someone on the other side of the planet, and you focus your frequency, your energies, on that particular being, and the energies will create a manifestation, moving energy into form, create it into reality, and experiencing it. So have you ever been thinking about somebody? And I wonder what happened to him, or I haven't heard from him in a long time. And then your phone rings, and it's them. Or you get a text message, and it's them. It is because that you, with your conscious energy, directed, moved energy into form, created it into reality, and experienced it, and it affected them. It could be all the way thousands of miles away, and you can affect them. So they get that thought or feeling that maybe I should call so-and-so. Could come out of the clear blue. And so they do. And a lot of us don't understand that this is where this all comes from. You could be simple things. You could just focus on something, and it appears. It'll appear on the view box, or it'll appear in person or something, but it does appear. So when you correlate that, you start to understand that, is you understand that you're an omnipotently powerful supreme being that never dies, that is housed kind of in the body, within the soul. And that's when we talk about deep core, going deep within you to discover the God that you are. And the God actually is pure conscious energy. So this is why we can focus our direction or frequency, whatever we focus on, we will manifest, period. It's irrefutable. There's no debate about it. It's been proven over and over and over and over again. And all the naysayers and the pessimists and negatifiers that say, oh, that's not it, and that's not possible, and that's not the way, and so on and so forth. But it is. It is factual. And we all know that, some of us know, that there is not an all-seeing, all-knowing, revengeful, punishing, get-even God outside of us. That never has existed ever. Because all of us, good, bad, and indifferent, are the God. We make up the God, the one. That's why some of us will look at it from the standpoint saying that I am the one. And that is not a derogatory statement. That is a truthful statement, that you are the one. That you do have this innate, many abilities that are housed within inside you that you either forgot about, don't remember, and we're here on a rediscovery of that. Eventually, everyone will remember all their past lives. Clearly, completely. Now, some people would say, oh, that's a baddie, that's overwhelming. I don't believe so. I believe that the more open people we become with ourselves and within, the more we're going to discover these powers that we all have. You might see somebody is able to do something and you go, I can't do that. But that's not true. But you negate it from the ego mind by saying that's not possible for me to do that. They can do it, but I can't. Okay? Or, someone levitating something, or someone levitating themselves. Well, I don't know how they're doing that. That's just not possible. But all of us can do that. It just depends on where you're at on the journey, because we're all on the same path. And none of us can mess up our lives. You may think that through the ego mind, but there's no way you can screw up your life. Really, not. So when we look at the planet, most of us look at it from different perspectives. We look at the civilization, the society, and all the things that are happening from a superficial standpoint, because none of us really know, deep underneath all of this, what the truth is. We don't know. And no matter who we listen to or what we read, we don't know. We don't know the truth, the core truth of why everything is happening the way it is. We see the surface. We look at the surface and say, wow, look at that. And, when's this going to end? When's that going to end? When are we going to be, some people say, when are we going to be saved? When is, one of the white horse and the troops going to come over the mountain and save us all? And the interesting thing is that many prophets, philosophers throughout the ages have done what they can to voice or communicate or state or quote different things as they have perceived them or looked at them for everyone, for the civilization. And the interesting thing is, because of the diversity of the civilization and because of its programming and conditioning, it's fractured. You know what I mean? It's like at one time we were one big puzzle, all put together, all firmly snapped into place. And the flow of existence energy was steady and pretty much sublime. It wasn't fractured or fragmented. As things went by and we forgot, we didn't remember, and we kept reincarnating into bodies, we didn't remember. Every time we don't remember, we don't have a recall right now on what did we do the last lifetime? Where did we get with that? Or the previous one, or so on and so forth. And it's like a blank slate for us. And some people get to the point where they are able to sustain an understanding that they really would like to know whatever their journey has brought them to this date and past lives and experiences. And we will all remember our past lives, all of them. Okay? Our memories will be re-energized so that we're able to do that. And in the event, say, that we knew that right now in this very moment, we could literally shift this entire planetary population and all that's going on very rapidly, if not instantaneously. Now, many people just, their minds can't grasp at this. Mind's too small of a container, as we know, to grasp something like that. So how do we understand that? We go beyond the mind. We negate the mind. We leave the mind and the ego alone by going into the now through meditation, which is the now, in being, and listening to our breath and the space between heartbeats. And then, only then, do we correctly, easily manifest what we focus on. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I focus on things, but they don't happen. The reason that is because we have a little thing called doubt through the ego mind. And as soon as that little teeny bit of doubt that comes in, shuts it down, lowers our vibrational frequency. Whenever we get miffed or kind of discombobulated at times in this life, we shut it down. As soon as we lower our vibrational frequency to any variant, we shut it down. We move out of it and beneath it. It doesn't follow us. See, we sustain a level of high frequency so that it can continually beam to us. And what is that? It's the universe. So when we understand that this size, when you look at power and energy and you look at size, it has no meaning. It has zero meaning. But see, and this social structure on this planet, we've been conditioned and programmed to believe that something has to be very big in order to be very powerful. And that's not true. Totally the opposite. I have seen particles that you could probably look at them from the size of a bead of water. Okay, like you see bead, like on your car or something that rains and you have a bead of water. Okay, that's small or even smaller. That has so much energy and power that it's unfathomable to understand how it can have that. Where the most powerful crane or device to lift it off of the ground, right, could not move it. Period. So when you look at the planet, you say, oh, the planet's so big. And I'm just a little body on the planet. How can I make any kind of a difference in the frequencies and energetic fields of the planet and the civilization? How can that's just not, that's crazy. And that's doubt. And that's what negates us most of the time, is the doubt that we have with ourselves. Nothing else, but the doubt we have with ourselves. That we have that ability to focus our attention and our God energy on anything, and we'll manifest it. Take, for instance, when you look at, now all of the dark matter frequencies on this planet, we call it pure evil, and we know what pure evil is because all pure evil is about is destruction. That's it. No reverence for any form of life, total destruction, mayhem, and elimination of all life. So we know what that is. But interestingly enough, that is also part of the collective consciousness. Okay? Now, some people would say, well, then why is this planet still intact? Okay? Why is it still intact if pure evil invaded the planet and took it all over and is doing all these horrible things and on and on and on for centuries? Because the yin and yang, you've all seen the symbol, particle of light, particle of dark, and you could walk into a flooded light room so bright that you'd have to cover your eyes because the light was so bright. And you could detect miniature, little tiny atom particles of darkness. It's the same with dark. On the flip side, you could go into a dark room that's so dark you can't see yourself. And in that darkness are particles of light. Now, this planet must be balanced in that understanding. So when the light is prevalent, even though you don't see dark particles, they're there, but they're not prevalent. They're not, to the point of creating such disturbance in the field. And that's why this planet is still here. And that's why we are still here on this planet. That goes for all the civilizations, on it, in it, above it, and below it. That's why we're still here. Because whether it's unconscious, subconscious, or conscious, there's those of us who will pray, which is a form of meditation, because we're focused on one thing. And when we pray, it comes from the heart-mind. And who are we praying to, by the way? We are praying to the gods that we are in the body, which is connected to the collective consciousness. And all the gods, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. Once we, as a people, as a civilization, once we're able to embrace this without doubt, with confidence and trust in ourselves first, and that same amount of confidence, faith, and trust in the universe, it's our natural state of being. So collectively, we look at the planet and say, we really don't care to have the overabundance of control, manipulation, deceit, dishonesty on this planet anymore. We don't care to have it. Now, we all know what it is because for lifetimes we've experienced it countless times. And then one would say, well, how about the next generations? They've got to know the difference. They'll experience, but they will know the difference because they'll experience things that they manifest. Okay? So some of us will manifest things that come into our lives, and we don't correlate or connect with it by saying, that came from me, I manifested that. There's a reason for that. Okay. What am I to learn from this? What am I to experience with it? Now, some of us will do that. We'll view it. This stuff comes in, and we view it, and we go, okay, so why is this here, and what am I to learn from it? And rather than getting all bent out of shape and all nervous and upset, frustrated, anxiety-filled, and stress-filled, we switch it at a higher vibrational frequency by looking at it and saying, hey, come here and sit down on the couch with me. I want to find out why I manifested you and what you're here to do, or and what you need. That's what this is all about. When we, in the physical material world, we look at things from physical, material viewpoint, standpoint. Because to us, that's what's real. And we don't understand that we created it. Okay? Part of collective consciousness, where did this universe come from? Really, truly, where did it come from? We manifested it. We created it. Where do all the other connecting universes come from? With the collective consciousness create them. Now, some of us are at an understanding with the gods that we are, that we just said a universe will be creative. It'll be created. And so shall it be, so it is, and so it is. It's created. And when we look at this, all of this, and we step away, we let go of everything. We let go of our lives in the physical material world. We let go of everything. And I want to be perfectly clear here, is that we're not losing anything. It's not like you're going to lose everything. You're surrendering it all. So you're not attached to it. Okay? And the attachment is the ego mind. Not the God that you are. And this is how we've been programmed and conditioned. When you genuinely let go of it, and how do you do that? You go into meditation. It's about all of us experiencing a deep, intimate relationship with ourselves. That's the primer to bring all the pieces back together and into place. You hear me talk about the fact that this is a God planet paradise. Doesn't it make sense? We are all gods in the body, and slowly discovering on our own, in our own way, that we truly are a God in the body and not the body. The body's wonderful because it does so many things and allows us to do so many things in the physical material world. Without the body, we would not be able to experience any of it. That's how astronomically important our bodies are. But it's not like the body is, insignificant, because it's majorly significant. And our connection to the gods that we are is omnipotently important. And this is something that we decide for ourselves. Nothing, a galactic flash from the great central sun, a CME flash from the sun and the solar system is not going to do anything, and it won't be to begin with. It is a distraction for us, like so many things in the material physical world. We're the creators. We say co-creators because why? Why are we co-creators? Why aren't we just creators? Because we all create. It's a cooperative creation. And it's why we exist. We create bad things, of course. We create good things. We create miracles, spectacular things. When we say a miracle, it's because it comes from us. And then most of the time we don't acknowledge or understand that that's coming from us. Something comes into your life or something happens, and you go, that's a miracle. It's because we are all miracles. And now you understand something. The forces of dark have they do what they can to counterbalance our high frequency. Okay? In a way, they will pray to counterbalance our frequency of goodness, kindness, deep eternal love. They're the opposite. They're the polar opposite. So they will try to detract from that and do whatever they can to get us to lower our frequencies. Okay? That's the key. It isn't, see, everything else is connected to it. And when it's connected to it, and when most of the civilization is still asleep, It's easy to do. And when we don't understand the logistics of it, the assemblies of it, then it's much easier for it to take root. The power that the opposite, okay, that the dark does is that it influences the light, which is us, and most of us are amnesia. We have amnesia, so we don't remember. So it influences us to do what? Lower our vibrational frequencies. See, that's the power play between dark and light. And most of us don't know that. Some of us do. Some of us have gotten to the point that we identify that. We don't judge it, we identify it. So it's pretty much a moot point because we look at it and say, fine, so I understand that. I understand that we can be manipulated, we can be pushed into subversion, we could be pushed into destruction and confrontation and pain and sorrow and anguish. These are all low frequencies. And there's catalysts that cause us to flow into that, unbeknownst many of us knowing who and what we are. And that, therefore, that creates the very dilemma as we look at it that we're facing. An actual creation through manipulation from the dark forces to manipulate us into lower frequency. Fear, anxiety, stress, worry, attachment, expectation. Yesterday and tomorrow is where we suffer. And none of us are exempt from it. What's the counterbalance? To not allow ourselves to go into lower vibrational frequency. That's a challenge for many because we are used to being in low vibrational frequency. And not only that, it's comfortable for us. I've had a lot of people say to me that they're comfortable with how things are, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But they don't care to step further. Because further is the unknown. And the unknown is where all the adventures are, all the opportunities, all the possibilities is in the unknown. So the challenge for us is to say, I'm excited about going further. Stepping outside my comfort zone. It's not easy because it takes all the courage that you can muster. It takes everything we've got to do that. Because we all know that when we get into that in life, right, we have a rhythm that we establish for ourselves. And that rhythm year after year after year. Now, it doesn't mean that we are cognizant to it. It just falls into place by the decisions we make, by how we view things, by how we're programmed, by how we're conditioned. And that's life. And each of us are living a life in this very moment. It's for us, it has kind of a self-discovery, epiphany, if you will. And some people in this very moment on this planet are just now discovering that they are a God in the body and not the body. Now, when you look at the planet, and all of us know from different directions, different influences, that things are out of balance. We know that. We inherently know that as the gods that we are. But many are not consciously aware of that. So when we look at this globe or this planet, this living being that sustains us and allows us to stay in these bodies, sustains the body, feeds the body, houses the body, and we look at the current and the very now happenings, and we identify and we know, to a certain extent, that we don't care to lower our vibrational frequencies. Now, only you can do that. Nobody else can do that. Not really, unless you give it permission. So if someone disturbs you or something disturbs you, and we've all been there many times, and you drop into it, right? And so you're upset, you're irritated, you're out of balance. And you know it, but the ego mind is so powerful it takes over and it directs you. And sometimes we will literally obsess over something for days or weeks or months or even lifetimes. Rather than just saying, I'm not interested in being here in this type of frequency, so therefore I'm letting it go. You know that you are beginning to master the material physical world when you're able to do that. And you're able to do it more often than not. And it's almost like a switch where you identify it, you're not fearful of it, and you say, I don't care to interact with this anymore. I'm going to focus on the now. And that will literally remove you from yesterday and tomorrow, because that's the manipulation. That is the frequency that keeps us into a suffering on a day-to-day basis. That's what happens. And as we go through the life, we become habitualized on that process. When we have attachment, which is in this mix, we suffer. Well, why do we suffer? Because we have disappointment. When you're attached to something, and that attachment is interrupted or removed, you're disappointed, you go into sorrow, you go into many low vibrational frequencies. One might say, well, we need those frequencies to understand the difference between those low frequencies and the high frequencies. But most of us spend a lot of the time in the low frequencies, and that's why the planet is in the condition it's in. The life forms, the civilization, and the planet herself. That's the only reason. And this is why you'll hear me say, it's about you. It's all about you. And that's not meant, that is not directed in a selfish ego mind direction. That is directed in the heart mind as a wonderful discovery. That all of us, none of us are exempt from this. Even though the ego mind might convince some of us that we're above it, we're not. It's a learning process for us, gods. We learn, we experience. We are divine perfection, but there are levels of divine perfection. We don't ever change because we're the only thing that's real. And we create everything around us. When we look at things, that's the God that I am. I mean, we're part of all the fields of energy. We are not disconnected, even though the forces of evil would like us to believe we're disconnected at all times. That we don't have a God inside us, that we are powerless, that we are weak and very easily manipulated, controlled, and directed. That's where all this is. It isn't the physical material world which we've created to experience. This is the essence of all creation. This is how it unfolds. And this is this civilization's true source of power. Not guns, not bombs, none of that. In fact, that's all created by what? Our focus, what we focus on. Could be through fear, anxiety, stress, worry, whatever those low frequencies that come in. Now, I'm not saying that all low frequencies are bad, because some of them test us. And a lot of us have been woken up by low frequencies, which is a positive thing. But when we allow, when we're not consciously aware that we are being manipulated by lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies, then we fall for it. Every time we fall for it. And we're just not consciously aware of it. And then we believe that's the way life is. That's life. No, and then you begin to come out of the cave, so to speak, and you begin to realize that I'm the creator. That's exactly right. I focus on things and I have created my life. That's exactly right. Now we're given an empty vessel to enter, which is absolutely miraculous because it has so many parts to it that most of us, we don't focus on that because we allow others to take care of our bodies when it should be us taking care of our bodies, which eventually we'll be able to do in a blink of the eye, without machines, without technology. We have that right now. We just have not discovered it because there's parts to all of this. So when you look at the planet in this current condition of the civilization, of whatever physical forms are here to weave negativity, manipulation, distraction, we know that. We're aware of that. And we're not angry about it because we know that we collectively created it. And we did. Now, some people become very defensive about that. It's not my fault. I had nothing to do with this. But we're not talking about the physical form. We're talking about the collective consciousness and our frequencies and what we focus on. Most of us have not mastered the ego mind. So we use it as a tool rather than it using us as a tool. And that's why I say these are all steps in awakening for all of us. So when we look at this, to some people it's disastrous, it's this, it's that, something's got to be done. So, and that's an emotional response, which is understood. But we're doing it from a physical, material standpoint, all right? Not from a spiritual. Now, when we move more and more, because this civilization will, some won't. Some will continue to have, lifetimes to figure it out. This isn't a race. I've brought up the analogy of the tortoise and the hare. We are the tortoise. And we view everything along the way, along the journey. Okay? The rat race is the hare. All the rat race cares about is getting somewhere. But the irony to it is they don't know where that is. And when some of them think they do and they get there, then they say, is this all there is? Because you're heavily seduced into the material physical world. Some of us will know that we can jump and dive in. It's a pool, right? Pool represents the rat race. And as far as the eye can see, it is a big pool. Look at it as a big ocean. And we're all swimming in it. Okay? Some of us, however, we know we're not of it. So we're just there visiting, experiencing, and then we get out of that pool, dry ourselves off, and walk away. But the majority will stay in that pool until their skin falls off of their bodies because they don't know. Totally oblivious. So Begin to focus on your breath. Make sure you're in a very comfortable position with your body. Make sure you don't have any distractions. And then begin to focus on your breath. And all you're doing is listening to your breathing. That's what you're doing. The breath is supremely powerful and magical, and most of us take it for granted. You look at the planet. Now, we have stepped out of the material physical for this meditation. Doesn't mean, we drop the body off into a tube somewhere. It just means that we have stepped away by being in the now. So we view everything. Now understand, it's from a watcher's perspective and not a judger's perspective. The judgment is material, physical, ego, mind. Now when you look at the planet and you see the chaos, you see the disturbances and the frequencies, you can now see the frequencies. And their color variances. Most of the colors of dark matter is dark. It does express colors, but in a very dim way. So you begin to see these. Now remember, you're in the now and you're not emotionally, physical material at all. In the now, you can't be. And if you are, then you're not in the now, so you continually focus on your breath until you are not in yesterday and tomorrow. Now we create, and we've done this on many meditations through the years, but we create visuals. And the visuals are placed, if you will, as permanency. This is not a wham bam thank you ma'am meditation and it's over and it's done. Okay, we place these visuals and high frequency all over the planet. The reason we do that is because this is permanent. All right, this will affect this civilization for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, if not millions and billions. Now, to us, they're in place. That's all that matters. And what they are is they're like a shimmering column of the brightest light that you could possibly fathom. I'm not talking about the dimness of suns, because if you compare all the suns in this universe, put them all together in one compression, they would look dim to these columns. They literally would look dim, very dim, as a matter of fact. So these columns, what are they? They're creation. They house the pure God energy within them. And you got to understand that the God energy is everywhere. It's everything and nothing. Now you can do the color variances of the higher frequencies. The colors identify the higher frequency. You could have pink, you could have a golden shimmering, you could have a silver shimmering, you could have many different colors in the spectrum of these frequencies. And you're not going to see any dark veins of frequencies, of dark, lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies. You will only see light bright, period. And you'll see it moving. And this is how all energy is. It's undulating, moving constantly. So it's not these columns, and you look at the columns are the energy, and the movement within the columns are the energy. So we place these all over the planet. And they're all shimmering. This goes to the very core of the planet. She's a creator, just like us. But her God decides to experience what it's like to be a planet. Okay? Our gods are experiencing what it's like to be in these bodies and experience physical material life. She's doing no different, but it happens to be a different organic body than these. Now we don't look at the lower dark matter frequencies, okay? And all these frequencies are pain, suffering, all right, hatred, destruction, manipulation, dishonesty, greed, okay, arrogance. All of those are lower dark matter frequencies, right? We've all experienced them, one way, shape, form, or another, throughout the lifetimes that we have experienced so far. And all of these columns, even though we see them as being separate, are one. They're one. Now we know they're one. In these bodies, we would look at them and say, well, they're all separate. They're not connected. But in our spiritual essence, our true form, our true existence, we know they're all one. And we see them as one. Now, they all, with this omnipotently powerful God, light, love energy, because this is pure, deep, eternal love. That's what we're all made of. That's all us gods are made of. I'm not talking about romantic love. This is way beyond that. Okay, romantic love is physical material world that we create, okay, so that we can continue the civilization. That's it, right there. All right? Things must feel good for us in physical material form, so we're motivated to continue the civilization. If they didn't feel good, there wouldn't be a civilization. And the feel good is a high frequency. It's a high vibrational frequency. And it comes from the God love, the God energy that we all are within these bodies. So when you look at, remember, we're all floating out. We're in this sea, this ocean, golden ocean of pure energy, pure photon energy of the highest high frequency of deep eternal love. And so all these columns represent what? The God. All of us represent what? The God. And this has nothing to do with religion. Religion is way far away. This is our spiritual development as gods. So this energy cannot be extinguished, cannot be adulterated, cannot be destroyed, ever. Okay? And it will maintain, and in the quiet time of this meditation, what you're focusing on is what? The love that you are. The God that you are in that body. You don't have to do anything, right? You just be. And listen to the breath. Now this energy field that these columns have created is a saturating blanket of pure, deep, eternal love, light energy. The highest frequency in existence and beyond. It is beyond consciousness. And so the lower dark matter frequencies cannot sustain themselves. They cannot. Now they're part of us, but they cannot sustain themselves and direct their focus of annihilation. They're part of the one. So the light is so powerful that they begin to dissipate. This isn't destruction, understand. This is that their molecular structure begins to dissipate. the molecular structure of their minds, their brains, the molecular structure, the cells, the quantum particles, all the way to the orm. It's all in process. So what does this mean? They no longer can sustain themselves on the planet with such high frequency. And since such high frequency doesn't come in just one blast, it is consistent and continual, they can't maintain. They start losing their abilities to manipulate, to be dishonest. They start losing their abilities of annihilation and destruction. They're not able to function at all. So it's like a machine going haywire, breaking down, and becoming inert. So where do their gods? Their gods exit the body, right? And if they are still darkened, they're absorbed into the One, which is all that we are, ever have been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. This is the highest of the highest high frequency, and this is beyond existence, beyond consciousness. And it is absolutely saturating this planet. And we've got a double whammy, remember, because we also put into place the photon energetic field. You can call it a belt, whatever you want to call it. It is an energetic field of concentrated love light energy that we are in right now. Now, when we cognitively focus our attention on what? The columns, the gods that we are, omnipotently powerful supreme beings that never die, and we're shifting everything in the energetic fields. It changes it almost instantaneously. And we engage this permanently. It's not going to be shut down. It's not going to dissipate. It will continually become more and more powerful. Because it's all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And that's what we are. That's the true essence of us gods. And this planet, by focusing our attention through our heart minds to reform the energetic frequencies into very high frequencies across the board. No exceptions. So that the planet for New Earth becomes a God planet paradise. You can see the radiance and the variance of the light and know in your heart minds that this is an absolute. It isn't hearsay. It isn't from the material physical world. It is from us gods. That we have deemed that this planet will be a God planet paradise. For all of us gods. Doesn't it make sense? Pretty logical. Will we continue to learn on much higher levels? Yes, indeedy. We will continue to experience and learn. We will create, as we always have and always will. Remember, this is an endless journey. It isn't, okay, so we're done with this and the journey's over. No, this is an endless journey. We have a lot of chapters. And then, as a God planet paradise, the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies cannot exist. Cannot. Because this is our first step in mastering the ego mind as a civilization of gods, so to speak. So we've laid out the visual, all right? We have installed it as these columns. We know the color variances. We also know the actual origin of the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies. It is through lowering frequencies through billions of years And it is being unconscious to the understanding of all of it. So we regain our conscious understanding. Because all of us literally are conscious. Most of us don't know that we're conscious. So we're conscious but don't know that we're conscious. So this assists with all of this and waking up a tremendous amount of us that are still asleep. The dark forces wither and are no more. They wither. They are no more. We focus our attention on these things with deep, eternal love. Okay? They don't know any better. Remember, they do not know any better. So it's time, and I believe that everybody listening to this meditation and that will listen to it on this planet, it is time for us gods to shift the energetic frequencies on this planet, of this planet, in the upper atmosphere, in this entire solar system, and beyond. Our focus is here. And that's exactly what we've engaged in this very now. It's already engaged. It isn't going to happen. It is already engaged. Focus from what I have shared with you. Focus on this in your own way with deep eternal love of what you're made of as a God. And focus your attention on that with deep eternal love through the heart-mind. And stillness is a statue. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through your nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Remember, whatever we focus on as the gods that we are, we will create. And what we put in place on this day and this very now, on this planet, in and on it, above and below it in this solar system, will reach to the farthest reaches of all existence and communicating with the complete collective consciousness. And all these towers that we have visualized and focused on, and the God, love, light, energy that we are made of, is fully engaged permanently and cannot be put asunder. Focus on your highest frequencies as we transition this planet to God, light, energy emanating everywhere. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, and always be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times.